Hi, this is Vaughn Daly, and it's the 16th of January 2024. And what I have to talk to you about, today is very near and dear to my heart. It's very serious about what's going on in our country, what we're up against, and how each one of us is going to respond to all the turmoil and all the division, not only in our community, but in our state, our country, and around the world. Because from where I stand, I see these divisions being drawn. Like real divisions, like chasms between people groups that would have been unheard of just a few years ago. I was raised up to love everybody. Being racist was a no-no in my family. You judge people by who they are. If you're going to judge them at all, right? Their character, their morals, their ethics, their integrity, not the color of their skin or their accent, or their sexual preference, or whatever it may be. Whether it was a woman, a guy, a European, an American, a Chinese, person to person, we were all made in God's image. He made us all. He loves us all. He wants us all to come home, right? What I see today, especially in our country, this United States of America, one nation under God. We were formed as one nation under God's authority. That's why we prospered so much, because we look to God, to who we are. And instead of kicking God out of the country like we've done as a community, as a culture for quite a while now. And what I see and hear from a lot of people is, just kill them all. Let God sort them out. Or let's turn them into glass. Those are wrong answers. I was in the military for 21 years. And most of the comments like that I hear come from people who have never killed somebody, never saw somebody die in their arms, never seen half of a body missing from a torso. War, pardon the cliche, war is hell. Literally hell. Nobody wants to go through it. And once the shooting, the killing, whatever, the civil war that you hear about, once it starts, where does it end? Once it starts, who's the first to pull the trigger? And once that starts, what about your children? What about somebody else's children? This would be a good point to ask, what would Jesus do? Well, Matthew says, if you're slapped, give them the other cheek, let them slap the other cheek, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't defend yourself. I mean, I was born in Montana. I'm sure I came out holding a gun. I shot guns every day, almost every day of my childhood. And, I have stories of hunting and growing up, and I was given a .22 rifle that my grandfather had. My mom learned to shoot on. When my grandfather died when I was 4 years old, he willed that gun to me. I still have it today. Firearms are part of American history and culture. And what I hate is how they're called weapons of destruction, right? They're like, you're gonna assault somebody with them. Assault weapons. Well, every person that I know, all my friends, they either hunt with their weapons, they're hunting rifles or pistols or guns, as in shotguns, or if they're used for anything else, they're used for defense. They're not ever going out to assault somebody with them. I mean, everybody that I know, that I hang out with, and up and down the valley where I live, I would say they're law-abiding citizens. And most just want to be left alone to have a life, right? But when we hear about all this division, how it's liberals against conservatives, it's Democrats versus Republicans, it's straight men against gay men, it's like LGBTQ plus against, you get the idea, right? They're drawing divisions between us. Don't fall for the propaganda. We're all made in God's image. Not that I agree with everything, but it's not for me to take somebody's life because I don't agree with them. It's for me to love them and show them the grace that God has shown me. The grace and mercy. Because if God gave me what I deserve, I know where I'd be. I wouldn't be here. And my future wouldn't be so bright. I would say it would be dark and dingy in a hot place. That's what I deserve. I think that's what we all deserve. Because of God's grace and mercy, and because of what Jesus did on the cross, sacrificed when he was crucified to take on our sin, if we acknowledge who he is, and then 3 days later he cheated death and was resurrected to give us the opportunity to have everlasting life in heaven with him. If we accept what he did, that's phenomenal. That's where my hope is. Through and through, that's where my hope is. I hope your hope is there too. Because these lies, deception, remember, it's all of Satan. The Bible says in Ephesians 6:12, our enemy is not flesh and blood. Scoot the flesh and blood out of the way. Your friend, your neighbor, your so-called enemy, scoot them out of the way, and then you'll see your enemy standing behind them, the evil spirits of the heavenly realms. That's what we're up against. We're fighting spiritual warfare. Every day, I have to remind myself, my enemy is not flesh and blood. My enemy is not flesh and blood. Every day I have to put on the armor of God to battle all these things that come through to us in this world. All the lies, all the propaganda, all the deception. We have to be able to discern what is true and what is false. And don't let anybody tell you to be free, you have to harm somebody else. That's a lie. Jesus wants all to come home. He wants all to come home. And as Christians, we need to want that too. We need to be able to share the light of Jesus. Not that not at all that Christians are perfect. And we all make